Right guys, I've just got to my hotel here in Tagaytay after an absolutely amazing day with Master Rene Tongson. I just have to say he was such a good host. So he was in Cavite, which is about 20-minute drive away from here, and he was in a small village outside of Cavite itself. And man, yeah, it was so nice. We went to his school, which was surrounded by banana and papaya plantations, and we filmed an amazing interview with sticks, knives, empty hand stuff. Then afterwards I had a really nice lunch with him, some traditional Filipino food. From there, went to his home, spent most of the afternoon just drinking some local coffee beans. Apparently the coffee produced where he lives is the best in the Philippines, so we had some local coffee and just chatted the afternoon away. Now he's just driven me over to my hotel here. This is a really, really basic hotel. I'll show you the facilities in a sec. So the shower was a bit of a weird system. I couldn't work out how to get any hot water. There is a heater up there, but no matter what I pressed and did, it didn't seem to do anything. So I've just had a cold shower, and then there's a bucket of water, which I assume is if the toilet doesn't flush, you just use that. And then this is one of those weird things they always have in Southeast Asia, is the ass hose. So you can use that hose to clean yourself off after you've taken a dump. So I guess we're going to get a better view tomorrow when we actually are driving around the side, but still from the hotel this is a pretty damn good view, just walking through this little village here, and you can see the volcano that erupted over there. And if I try and get past this electric cable, you can actually see that it's all still completely brown, I guess, all the residue from the eruption. Yeah, there we go. So one thing I've been kind of just thinking about while on this trip, this is, as I said, it's the first time back in Asia since before COVID, and having spent 13 years of my life living in China and then coming back to the West and living in Australia for 2.5 years, and now finally being back in Asia, just one thing that I've become acutely aware of is just how generous and kind people tend to be in Asia towards outsiders and foreigners. Coming here to the Philippines, first couple of days I spent in Chinatown, and Master Henry Low that I was interviewing about the Wuzu Chuan, he was just such a kind guy. Sorry, this dog's kind of... So the first day in Chinatown with Master Henry Low, I mean, I'd never met the guy before. We literally had one conversation on Facebook where I said that I'm coming to the Philippines, I'd like to do an interview with him about Wuzu Chuan. And I come to his school and we do this interview. He won't accept any gifts from me. He takes me out for a big lunch afterwards, won't let me pay for a thing. I said to him that I want to get a local SIM card. I asked if he knows where's a good place to buy one. And he literally just sends his student off to buy a SIM card and just gives it to me, and he's like, here you go, here's a SIM card, let me know if the data runs out and I'll top it up for you. And he wouldn't let me give him any money for this SIM card either. So yeah, it's just the generosity of people here. And the same with Master Rene. Today he's been taking me all around Cavite, and we've been to his home and we had lunch together, and he drove me here to Tagaytay, and tomorrow he's gonna drive me to see where they make the Bali song, and then he's driving me down to see the Master Rodell Dagooc, and all of this stuff, just for a complete stranger. He's just booked 2 days off. He's made sure cleared 2 days off his calendar so that he can host me and take me around. And it's like, this is something that we just don't do in the West, I feel. So I think we get so wrapped up in our own lives that we tend to forget about all of the like people from overseas that come and live. So like when I was studying at UWA as an international student, and when you're a foreigner in a new country, I mean, for me it's not like a big deal. Australia, it's still the same culture, it's still the same language, it's everything's very similarly set up to the UK, so it's pretty easy to get used to the way things are and to get help I need when and know how all the infrastructure works and everything. But still I did find with a lot of the Australian like domestic students on my course that they were honestly pretty cold. Like, I mean, yeah, people are friendly in class, you have a chat, whatever, but then they just kind of like go home, and I don't blame them. They've got their own life, they've got their own stuff, but as someone who's just arrived in the country and you don't really know anyone, it's quite difficult to establish your social circles and get to know people and how to get your kind of life established. And I even more so for like Asian students, and I used to always kind of think, oh, why is it that like Chinese and Vietnamese and Korean students, when they come to Western countries, they don't try and integrate, they just stay among their own people, they never really get that good at English. And I used to think that that was kind of on them, but what I realised after I came to Australia was that I think it's kind of partly on us, as in like the local people as well, because I realised that they're very, people don't realise just how much of a big thing it is for those Asian students to come over to Australia or the UK or wherever, and like, they've left their comfort zone, they've come to a completely new society, a new culture, a new like political system in a lot of cases that they don't really understand. They don't quite grasp why people are so outspoken and critical, and that can come across quite intimidating to a lot of Chinese. It's not necessarily that they really do think so positively of their government, but they've never really heard people kind of just speaking so openly and critically, so they don't really know what to make of it. And then of course, the fact that their English may have been good enough to pass an exam to be able to come and study, but it's still not their first language. And I don't think we're very accommodating to any of that. And so I can see how easy it is for a lot of the Asian students studying in the West to kind of just feel like they've, to feel the Western society is like very kind of cold and callous and, doesn't really make any effort to accommodate them. Which, is not anything we do on purpose. It's just, I suppose, the society and the culture and just the way we're like so focused on our own lives. But it's just something I became, from my experience, having gone to Asia and been a student and working and just seeing how people like treat me and how people are always there to like do anything that you need. I just think that like maybe we should try and be a bit more like that to students that coming over to our countries from like Asia or from Africa. I just think it'd make a much better environment for everyone, and also like for us, like there's a great big learning experience because you get to make friends with people from different part of the world, and learn all about their way of life and help them to learn more about our way of life. So yeah, it was just something I was kind of thinking about on this trip. So I got myself some dinner in town just outside of the hotel. I got this kind of barbecued pork and then a garlic rice, and then one of the big things they do in the Philippines is you've got this little kind of miniature lime thing. I don't know what they're called, but you kind of squeeze the juice out of it and then you just like mush the chilies up into the juice, and then you use that to like dip your pork. So you're just kind of supposed to chop the chili somehow. It's a little bit hard to do this with one hand. And then you take your meat and you dip it in this little thing, and there you go. So yeah, you just dip it in the sauce, and then that's it. It's like kind of sour, citrusy, spicy, and then you've got the barbecued pork, which is absolutely beautiful. And then the other thing is the garlic rice, which is basically just like fried rice with garlic in it. So I mean, it's kind of what you expect, but I guess it's better than just plain rice.